Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race, our common enemies. Death, welcome on Perfect Society. I'm Ulrich Hofman, and you're watching the broadcast. New messages, links appearing under YouTube videos, plus RUILAN Biotech Limited. Can anyone see this? So let me know in the chat if you can see my broadcast. I will show the messages under the YouTube videos that I mean. The first one that I saw was under this video, I think. This is Coronavirus, Why Resident Evil Becoming Reality. Uploaded by Elise ZZ Official. 5 likes, 1 dislike. 198 views. And then when I click on this, the message appearing underneath the video is coronavirus, but it appears above the title of the video. That's also pretty weird, you could argue. Coronavirus, get the latest information from the World Health Organization about coronavirus. And then it links to the WHO website. That's this one. And this reminded me of Resident Evil. There are 6 Resident Evil movies. These are all 6 of them on IMDb. Resident Evil 2002, Resident Evil Apocalypse 2004, Resident Evil Extinction 2007, Resident Evil Afterlife 2010, Resident Evil Retribution 2012, and Resident Evil The Final Chapter 2016. So I've planned to read some of this. We can read this whole page. This is what was linked, but on another page that I opened, let's see, another YouTube video also had a message, and it's CGTN is funded in whole or in part by the Chinese government. Wikipedia. That's on the channel of CGTN. And, well, that may be logical, of course. Probably some Chinese news channel. Let's see. So the question is this desirable? Don't we want to see the title right there, basically? But like this, the title is still readable as well. Perhaps there can also be an option that people can turn it on or off. Go to website or send feedback. Don't know where that feedback is sent then. And it stands for China Global Television Network, CGTN. Alright. Well, this is the page it referred to, I think. Or is it this one? Let's open it again. Ah, that's the initial page. Okay. So check out event 201, 2nd of January, and I've uploaded this to the Discord also. Video by Paul Cottrell, Coronavirus and Event 201 by Dr. Paul Cottrell. And the other video people have to watch is Jane Burgermeister, Coronavirus as Trojan Horse for Vaccination, Medical Martial Law, on YouTube. These are must-watch videos. Jane Burgermeister is one of the best informed people out there about this population reduction plan with vaccines. And people have to fear the vaccine, not the virus. The virus is easy to beat. But let's read the WHO.int page. Novel coronavirus. So it's new, supposedly. And I've already covered these other types of coronaviruses. Coronavirus. Where is it? Oh, here, event 201. That's perhaps interesting also because I mentioned it. But of course, there's more information about it. And it may also be tied to censoring people that have cures. They want to reduce the global population, so they want them to use their chemical, the cancer-causing prescription drugs, also because they will make billions of reducing the global population growth. And there are several ways to do this, of course. Watch my other broadcast if you want more info about it. Event 201 Media, videos. I clicked on videos. So it seems to be legal also to advocate a population reduction to 500 million. And Bill Gates thinks the good news is the population growth in the country goes down. He said that also in several videos. But I tend to think that educated people have a lower birth rate. Educated people have a lower birth rate than uneducated ones. And of course, unhealthy people might not be able to reproduce, but healthy people usually are. Anyway, I'd have to see statistics, numbers, if that's verifiable, etc. So then let's read this first. Event 201. Well, it's impossible to read it if I haven't started up the speech engine yet. So it will start in a second. In a minute, I mean.
A severe pandemic, which becomes Event 201, would require reliable cooperation among several industries, national governments, and key international institutions. Visit my Event 201. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise on October 18, 2019, in New York, NY. The exercise illustrated areas where public-private partnerships will be necessary during the response to a severe pandemic in order to diminish large-scale economic and societal consequences. Statement about nCoV and our pandemic exercise. In recent years, The world has seen a growing number of epidemic events, amounting to approximately 200 events annually. These events are increasing, and they are disruptive to health, economies, and society. Managing these events already strains global capacity, even absent a pandemic threat. Experts agree that it is only a matter of time before one of these epidemics becomes global, a pandemic with potentially catastrophic consequences. A severe pandemic, which becomes Event 201, would require reliable cooperation among several industries, national governments, and key international institutions. Visit my YouTube channels, Try Something. Vegetarian, Perfect Society, and the Future channel on YouTube. Be prepared, everyone. Form real resistance to death, our common enemy. Safety first. Mir, Salam, Shalom, Hiwa, Major typing on, Shanti Shanti. Universal Everda now, Universal Peace now.
So I've also shown in the previous broadcast that there's a song by, what's her name, Grace Jones, and it's called Chan Hitchhikes to Shanghai. I can't play it, of course, because of the copyright infringement. That's the song loading on Virtual DJ. Oh wow, it even crashes. Great, I was watching a movie. And then, I don't know what minute I left off. But it was Resident Evil 1. So perhaps we should watch all of them, basically. So the question is... Oh, we get to that later. First, I wanna check the WHO website.
Novel Coronavirus, 2019 nCoV. Credits on this website. You can find information and guidance from WHO regarding the current outbreak of novel coronavirus, 2019 nCoV, that was first reported from Wuhan, China, on December 31, 2019. Please visit this page for daily updates. WHO is working closely with global experts, governments and partners to rapidly expand scientific knowledge on this new virus, to track the spread and virulence of the virus, and to provide advice to countries and individuals on measures to protect health and prevent the spread of this outbreak. Protect yourself. Questions and answers. Mythbusters travel advice. Situation reports. Technical guidance. News. All news. February 7, 2020. Departmental news. Online training as a weapon to fight the new coronavirus. February 6, 2020. News release. WHO to accelerate research and innovation for new coronavirus. February 5, 2020. News release. $675 million needed for new coronavirus preparedness and response. Global plan. January 30, 2020. Statement on the second meeting of the International Health Regulations, 2005. Emergency C. What you need to know. What is coronavirus? How to protect yourself. Mythbusters. Travel advice. Questions and answers. Situation updates. Situation reports. Here you will find the latest situation updates and data regarding the 2019 nCoV outbreak. Disease outbreak news. Since January 21, 2020, disease outbreak news have been replaced with daily situation reports. 2019 nCoV Situation Dashboard. Global Situation Dashboard. Research and Development Update on Research Activities for Novel Coronavirus. WHO's R&D blueprint has been activated to accelerate diagnostics, vaccines and therapeutics for this outbreak. International Clinical Trials Registry Platform. Donors and partners.
So basically I remember that scene in the movie, in Resident Evil, when they walk across the zebra path on the road. I don't know if it's called a zebra, like the Beatles walking on the zebra on the Apple record. I'm preparing a little picture show. So basically I'm looking for the scene in Resident Evil with that zebra pattern that we see here on the WHO website. This zebra pattern is in one of these Resident Evil movies. So I'll keep this on. I advise everybody to use some tea tree as a preventive measure. Tea tree oil. Of course only externally, because otherwise it's toxic. It's an essential oil. So all the information you need is on the leaflet that comes with it. And I've given 14 uses for this in my previous video, so people can watch that. But one way is just with a sandstone basically, or dropping some on a t-shirt or sweater. And it has antiseptic, antiviral properties. So that might get it. I'm rolling my J, so this is just a test broadcast. That's also why I wrote, can anybody see this? Which I doubt, by the way. Well, this is not from the movie itself. Or is it? Perhaps this is from the video game or whatever. And this one also. Perhaps that's event 201. Looking good. Okay. Turn it on the picture show again. So the search goes on. Oh, it may be Resident Evil Afterlife. So I can just play the video and hope that everything goes right. Well, people just have to watch the movie because I'm not gonna take everybody's time while searching. I thought it would be easy to find a little picture because I remember the movie scene well. My globe just went up. And that's easy to do with directed energy weapons. I did not bump the table or anything. So is that supposed to scare me or something? Let's see. So here you can see my globe is now not spinning anymore. So of course we all want to know how to protect ourselves. Protect yourself. Protect yours, elf. ELF. Makes sense. We can also download this stuff. So I think they're not gonna test colloidal silver because they already know it kills the coronavirus and also Ebola and the HIV virus that causes AIDS, autoimmune deficiency syndrome. And I can show you the scientific evidence. So these people just want to reduce the global population. And to do that, they will want to cut everybody off. Also, they've supposedly blocked a shipment of colloidal silver. And now the health in range man or whatever has been removed. But that is controlled opposition, so that may be part of their psyop. So all people think, oh, that's normal. You don't have to do anything about that. They're just trying to help us. Okay. So I can't say too much, but we can read the WHO website information about advice for public, how to protect yourself.
When and how to use masks, Mythbusters. Basic protective measures against the new coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand rub if your hands are not visibly dirty. Why? Washing your hands with soap and water or using alcohol-based hand rub eliminates the virus if it is on your hands. Practice respiratory hygiene when coughing and sneezing. Cover mouth and nose with flexed elbow or tissue. Discard tissue immediately into a closed bin and clean your hands with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. Why? Covering your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing prevent the spread of germs and viruses. If you sneeze or cough into your hands, you may contaminate objects or people that you touch. Maintain social distancing. Maintain at least 1 meter, 3 feet, distance between yourself and other people, particularly those who are coughing, sneezing and have a fever. Why? When someone who is infected with a respiratory disease, like 2019 nCoV, coughs or sneezes, they project small droplets containing the virus. If you are too close, You can breathe in the virus. Avoid touching eyes, nose and mouth. Why? Hands touch many surfaces which can be contaminated with the virus. If you touch your eyes, nose or mouth with your contaminated hands, you can't transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. If you have fever, cough and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Tell your healthcare provider if you have traveled in an area in China where 2019 nCoV has been reported, or if you have been in close contact with someone who has traveled from China and has respiratory symptoms. Why? Whenever you have fever, cough and difficulty breathing, it's important to seek medical attention promptly, as this may be due to a respiratory infection or other serious condition. Respiratory symptoms with fever can have a range of causes, and depending on your personal travel history and circumstances, 2019 nCoV could be one of them. If you have mild respiratory symptoms and no travel history to or within China. If you have mild respiratory symptoms and no travel history to or within China, carefully practice basic respiratory and hand hygiene and stay home until you are recovered, if possible. As a general precaution, practice general hygiene measures when visiting live animal markets, wet markets or animal product markets. Ensure regular hand washing with soap and potable water after touching animals and animal products. Avoid touching eyes, nose or mouth with hands, and avoid contact with sick animals or spoiled animal products. Strictly avoid any contact with other animals in the market, for example, stray cats and dogs, rodents, birds, bats. Avoid contact with potentially contaminated animal waste or fluids on the soil or structures of shops and market facilities. Avoid consumption of raw or undercooked animal products. Handle raw meat, milk or animal organs with care, to avoid cross-contamination with uncooked foods. As per good food safety practices, protect yourself and others from getting sick.
So, I can Google event 201 pigs, or what's the best word? Pig, swine, or pork. In a recent simulation, a coronavirus killed 65 million people, 27th of January 2020, futurism.com. It started with pigs in Brazil before spreading to farmers. The Event 201 scenario pandemic tabletop exercise. So basically you could argue it's some would be wondering, is it a false flag? Perhaps my next broadcast would be that. But I'd first have to check if the name false flag is allowed by YouTube überhaupt. Event 201 simulates an outbreak of a novel zoonotic coronavirus transmitted from bats to pigs to people that eventually becomes efficiently transmissible from ... Center for Health Security.org. Perhaps that's an interesting read. Okay, the Event 201 scenario. That sounds more interesting. We already, or at least I already knew about the other preventive measures that people can take, but they didn't. I don't know if they also mentioned tea tree. I did a video about it with articles from PubMed. So that's scientifically proven to be antiviral, etc. You can watch the broadcast about it on my channel Perfect Society.
The Event 201 scenario. Event 201 simulates an outbreak of a novel zoonotic coronavirus transmitted from bats to pigs to people that eventually becomes efficiently transmissible from person to person, leading to a severe pandemic. The pathogen and the disease it causes are modeled largely on SARS, but it is more transmissible in the community setting by people with mild symptoms. The disease starts in pig farms in Brazil, quietly and slowly at first, but then it starts to spread more rapidly in healthcare settings. When it starts to spread efficiently from person to person in the low-income, densely packed neighborhoods of some of the megacities in South America, the epidemic explodes. It is first exported by air travel to Portugal, the United States, and China, and then to many other countries. Although at first some countries are able to control it, it continues to spread and be reintroduced, and eventually no country can maintain control. There is no possibility of a vaccine being available in the first year. There is a fictional antiviral drug that can help the sick but not significantly limit spread of the disease. Since the whole human population is susceptible, during the initial months of the pandemic, the cumulative number of cases increases exponentially, doubling every week. And as the cases and deaths accumulate, the economic and societal consequences become increasingly severe. The scenario ends at the 18-month point, with 65 million deaths. The pandemic is beginning to slow due to the decreasing number of susceptible people. The pandemic will continue at some rate until there is an effective vaccine or until 80 to 90% of the global population has been exposed. From that point on, it is likely to be an endemic childhood disease.
Well, what I do is I use a nebulizer with some colloidal silver when people have problems with their lungs. They can consult a doctor or whatever. And I'm using colloidal silver with the nebulizer myself, and I have for many years, and otherwise I would have died long ago. But that's another story. So these people want to pretend that the cure is the disease and vice versa to reduce the global population, of course. And is Margaret Chan really a Committee of 300 member? The director of the WHO, I think. Anyway, people can Google everything, so I'm not making any claims. What I've reported about is what other people wrote in their articles and broadcasts. So I'm just reviewing it, basically. Google Takeout, people can download the channel. Can I show this? I guess I could. Here you see takeout.google.com. And if you type that in, then you can download your Gmail account, for example, or your YouTube videos, including the comments and other stuff. So that's really cool, really nice that they've created that. And then people can put it on a CD-ROM if they want it to be EMP resistant, or put the computer in a metal bin that's grounded. Preppers know this kind of stuff. Though it might never happen, of course. We might never have to do that, hopefully. So yeah, a radiological water filter, storable food, being prepared. That's just a good idea. There is no good reason not to be prepared. Let's bookmark this event 201 thing. Where did I have the link? Okay. I put it in news then. Wow, it's a major coincidence that now it's really happening, or not. What else did I want to show? Well, actually, I felt like checking the RUILAN Biotech Limited. This company is based in Shanghai, not Wuhan. So, but it's of course because of the movie that many people might think, wow, that's the one from the movie, so then they did it. And perhaps the movie was just to warn us all. And of course, when it's designed there, they don't have to release it in Shanghai. That would be leading directly to them, basically. And people think, because now they think that these biolabs in Wuhan, it might have something to do with it also. So don't accuse anyone if you don't have any proof, otherwise it's slander. So the idea was checking that building and then comparing it to the building in the movie. Could that thing continue underground? Of course, theoretically. But perhaps we could find the location on a map somewhere. But perhaps I'd have to know Chinese for that. Is there anybody looking live? Let's see the live dashboard. And I doubt that, so that's why I put it in the title also. See? 0 watching. Not even YouTube checking up on me. Or perhaps they can watch along without it showing up in the view count. Anyway, then I'll just have to research it myself. So this is a broadcast in which I'm just gonna do research. So this is boring, it's not prepared like my other broadcasts that are much better. But who knows what I'll run into, you know. RUILAN Biotech Limited. Okay, images. Let's add building. So does it matter that it's in Shanghai and not in Wuhan? I don't think so. No, of course not. Oh, this is the picture. Twitter banned for doxing a Chinese scientist, etc. BuzzFeed News. Well, I hope that they investigate this, that the police and others check if there could be any truth to it, even if everybody says that it's not true, etc. That's a picture of a man preparing a frog, etc. that I covered in a previous broadcast. I'm not going to show the picture or anything, not mention who was banned. And I think everybody knows that already. So one of my theories, if I'm allowed to have a theory, is that it's just to cover up, to basically blame it on some company in China, though Pirbright has patented the coronavirus and received funding from Bill and Melinda Gates. But that's perhaps another coronavirus, but when we look at that patent that I've shown, it's clear it's for injection into humans as well. So it's not just for animals. So check my previous broadcast if you want to see the patents, etc. It's very easy to find with Google. So doxing, well, if 7 billion lives possibly depend on it, then isn't doxing a good thing? Just checking out the person's background and letting the people know of planet Earth. Letting the people of planet Earth know. So what evidence is there? I take a look at this anyway. I'm not showing anything. Corona is anagram of raccoon. In the movie it's spelled with double C, so then it would be C Corona. That reminds me of that C on the space rock, basically on the moon rock with the letter C on it. Could that be an indication, or perhaps somebody planted it there to let us know that it is the 33rd degree Freemasons, etc. Well, I wouldn't say it's proof or evidence. This proves it beyond any reasonable doubt, of course, it's nonsense. So no, it's not proof or evidence, definitely not. Am I allowed to cover this BuzzFeedNews.com article? A pro-Trump blog doxed a Chinese scientist it falsely accused. Oh, it doxed? Wait. A pro-Trump blog doxed a Chinese scientist is falsely accused. How do you know it was falsely accused? Does he work at this company? At what was it? RUILAN Biotech Limited or whatever? Let's see. Let's search on RUILAN. Well, and what's the name of the doctor, and does he work at RUILAN? Frog being slaughtered for client, nylon industrial gloves, unwashed buckets, dirty digital scale, fish and frog remains, live frogs for sale, improvised table for cutting meat over plastic bucket, and trussed live chicken in vegetable basket. So in the event 201 it's from pigs, so perhaps it's best if they stick to the plan. Of course, that would fit in with possible religious black op or psyop, because the Muslims think that pig is halal and the Jewish people think it's not kosher. Is it teruma or whatever? So all these people that don't eat pig might be saved, and the rest could die if it is spread via pig, if it is zoonotic. Or is it zoonotic? I think zoonotic, because otherwise it would have 3 O's. I want the Wiki article again, but they have called it Zoonosis, sorry. Okay, then we can read Wiki.
A zoonosis, plural zoonoses, or zoonotic diseases, is an infectious disease caused by bacteria, viruses and parasites that spread between animals, usually vertebrates, and humans. 1, 2, 3. Major modern diseases such as Ebola virus disease and salmonellosis are zoonoses. HIV was a zoonotic disease transmitted to humans in the early part of the.
Again, the dog also reminds me of the dogs in the movie. This is a dog with rabies, and that reminds me of the con plan of the Pentagon that I've covered in previous broadcasts. The plan to deploy nuclear weapons within the continental United States in the event of virus spreading, to be able to nuke the zombie hordes, to quote the article of CNN. And I've also covered that article, Try Something.Vegetarian. It's my other YouTube channel where people can find the video or videos. And BFT, Blue Force Tracking and home quarantines. Kissinger's plan to control the population, to reduce the global population by controlling the food supply. So I advise everybody to get storable food now, and also a radiological water filter. So because several people have called for a population reduction to 500 million, and we also find this number on the $1 Million Georgia Guidestones, there may be money people behind it, and perhaps they're not going to stop until they've achieved their goal. So that was the plan of Dr. Aurelio Peche of the Club of Rome. He advocated that a plague be introduced that would have the same effect as the famous Black Death of history. The chief recommendation was to develop a microbe which would attack the autoimmune system and thus render the development of a vaccine impossible. Well, they may have planned vaccines that will contaminate people with Ebola and with HIV, according to Jane Burgermeister, if I understand her video correctly. And it's still spreading, so watch it, because they may have planned to take these videos that expose them offline. So telling the truth in the time of universal deceit is not a revolutionary act, it's illegal, like I said before. The orders were given to develop the microbe and to develop prophylactic and a cure. The microbe would be used against the general population and would be introduced by vaccine. The prophylactic was to be used by the ruling elite. The cure will be administered to the survivors when it is decided that enough people have died. The cure will be announced as newly developed, when in fact it has existed from the beginning. This plan is a part of Global 2000. The prophylactic and the cure are suppressed. From the book Something in This Book is True by Bob Frissell, page 51. So let's read the rest of the Wiki article about zoonosis. Perhaps I can check how it's pronounced.
The 20th century, though it has now mutated to a separate human-only disease. Most strains of influenza that infect humans are human diseases, although many strains of swine and bird flu are zoonoses. These viruses occasionally recombine with human strains of the flu and can cause pandemics such as the 1918 Spanish flu or the 2009 swine flu. Citation needed. Neosolium infection is one of the neglected tropical diseases with public health and veterinary concern in endemic regions. 4. Zoonoses can be caused.
How can it be zoonosis and not zoonosis?
Zoonosis. Zoonosis.
Shouldn't it be zoonosis?
Zoonosis.
Well, I doubt if that's correct anyway.
By a range of disease pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, fungi and parasites. Of 1,415 pathogens known to infect humans, 61% were zoonotic. 5. Most human diseases originated in animals. However, only diseases that routinely involve animal-to-human transmission, such as rabies, are considered direct zoonosis. 6. Zoonoses have different modes of transmission. In direct zoonosis, the disease is directly transmitted from animals to humans through media such as air, influenza, or through bites and saliva, rabies. 7. In contrast, transmission can also occur via an intermediate species, referred to as a vector, which carry the disease pathogen without getting infected. When humans infect animals, it is called reverse zoonosis or anthroponosis. 8. The term is from Greek, zoon animal and nosos sickness.
Anyway, in the movie I was watching, Resident Evil 1, or the other one, Resident Evil Extinction 2007, Raccoon, I think it was in 1. Raccoon was spelled with double C. So then it would be C coronavirus, the anagram, antigram. I was looking for the building. Perhaps I can find it on Google Maps. Would be cool. Shanghai dim sum. I threw up after dim sum once. And I became vegetarian, though my parents were not vegetarian. And at that time it was more about principle than the healthiest diet, because animal protein and animal fat increase people's cancer risk. There's a nice documentary on Vimeo that's called What the Health. And, well, this is not the building. So where is that building? How does it look, etc.? So perhaps somebody could verify that for me, if the doctor that they've accused works at this company, RUILAN Biotech Limited, or not. So it could be somebody at Biotech Limited. But, like I said, it may just be a cover to mislead the global population to think it was created by China and not by Great Britain, where, of course, Lord Rothschild and Prince Philip live. For example, people who advocated population reduction, obviously. Anyway, We value your privacy, I accept. Where's this Kotaku UK? Okay. Whoa. Wow, that looks oh. Never mind.
Chinese resident evil fans think this biotech company's logo looks familiar by Brian Ashcraft on June 18, 2019 at 7:23 p.m. in Resident Evil. The Umbrella Corporation is an evil biotechnology and pharmaceutical conglomerate. Shanghai RUILAN Biotech Limited is also in biotechnology and, as Chinese Resident Evil fans point out, has a similar logo. Of course, Capcom's Umbrella Corporation has a red and white logo, and this company has a turquoise and white logo. Screenshot, Strixelbees. As you can see on the company's official site, the logo appears to be real. Screenshot, Lanshan Web. As Git News points out, commenters online in China wondered if the company's president was a fan of the games or if Shanghai was really Raccoon City. Back in 2017, Kotaku reported that a skincare clinic had a similar logo to the Umbrella Corporation's iconic umbrella, red and white color scheme and all. It has since been changed.
So what can I say, Raccoon City, there is no Raccoon City. Or is there? We can Google that as well. Raccoon City. Is Raccoon City a real place? That's what I want to know. Raccoon City was a small industrialized city located in Arklay County, an isolated mountain county in the Midwestern United States. It was destroyed during the T-virus outbreak in 1998. At present, the area is cordoned off to the rest of the world by a US government facility. Well, that's kind of confusing, of course. I Google Raccoon City, and what I wanted to know is it a real place? And the T-virus is the only thing that gives away that it's not a real place, basically. And people that don't know this might think it's a real city when they read this on Google. So the Resident Evil Wiki if they don't know the movie Resident Evil, then they might think this is a real place. But okay, they can't find it on any map, so then it's no problem. This picture looks different. Okay. So I'm looking for... Well, if there's nobody watching, then nobody can look it up for me. The building.
Shanghai RUILAN Biotech Limited.
Yep, I searched on that. And then I click on maps. I remove biotech. Shanghai RUILAN. I can show what I'm doing here. Okay. Then I will translate it first with Google Translate. See if that brings anything. Well, apparently it cannot translate it. Simplified Chinese, perhaps. Okay. So I found the address, and I think it may just be a cover that it's possible they have nothing to do with it, but it can also be that the time-traveling neural network tried to warn us via the movie. It is quite a coincidence that they have the exact same logo, etc., and some other things.
2A, Zenfeng World Trade Building, 369 Jiangxi Road, Shanghai, China.
Where did I have that map? Oh, it's this logo. I thought it would be something with the G of Google Maps. But okay. Well, okay. I think it should be here somewhere then, perhaps. Well, we cannot visit the place. So this is the location on the map. Satellite. Din. That looks like a pretty high building. Well, let's see if I Google. My mic was off. So I'll be searching on, and I'll let you all know when I find something. Comparison of reproduction numbers for selected diseases. So here you can see what the most contagious diseases are. Journal of Medical Virology, Reuters is the source. I do plus movie because otherwise I get the game. Search results. Well, I guess I'll just have to watch the movie. I'm not finding any thumbnails, no pictures with Google. I want to search on Umbrella Corporation building Resident Evil plus movie. So I can't compare if the building also looks the same in the movie. But nothing is what it seems, trust no one. So I've also covered the book Ingersoll Lockwood, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey of 1893. It also mentions Pence and describes the location of Trump Tower pretty accurately. So there may be a time-traveling neural network that's trying to reach out to the people to prevent this event, to prevent coronavirus from spreading and prevent a Trump peace plan, Kushner-Trump peace plan world war. And the question is also if that is alterable, if the timeline is still alterable when the time-traveling neural network has seen this. How far can it travel into the future is also the question. Can it also travel into the past, etc.? I've covered the time-traveling neural network in previous broadcasts. Mega World Trade Center. What's this building then? That looks kind of the same. As the one in the movie, I mean. That first picture we saw. Raccoon City images. From the game. I mean this one. WilPharma Corporation. Resident Evil Wiki. Airdome Laboratorio Resident Evil Fandom. Okay, let's read this then on residentevil.fandom.com.
WilPharma Corporation English Edit. Comments. Share Prime Universe, Capcom's primary storyline, WilPharma logo. WilPharma Corporation was a pharmaceutical company responsible for creating a vaccine for the T virus, an inoculation designed as a way to prevent further outbreaks of the virus. As a result of the actions of Umbrella Pharmaceuticals, its decision to develop a T virus vaccine was met with suspicion and scrutiny, coupled with the visibly business-focused attitude of Senator.
So if I see it correctly, then the RUILAN Biotech Limited building is on one side kind of like a cube, and on the other side, on this side, it's like a round building. So So it looks like this on the other side. So that's very special. Not many buildings have this shape.
Ron Davis, one of the company's most vocal backers and a member of the committee responsible for sterilizing Raccoon City. It made several controversial decisions, most of all establishing a new research facility in Harvardville, further raising suspicion of its legitimacy to the public eye. The official digital toolset for Dungeons & Dragons. Visit D&D Beyond. Its downfall began when the human rights organization, TerraSave, found photos of its latest human test subject, the result of their clinical tests on humans conducted in India. All of the victims had been exposed to the T virus, leading to suspicion they themselves had spread the virus in the first place, and so demanded that WilPharma immediately release the results of their tests.
So I've already warned about this, that if their goal is a population reduction to 500 million, we know that the countries with most people are China and India, each with 1.4 billion people. The US is the third largest country by population with 327 million people or so. So they both have 4 times as many people as the US does. And if they want to reduce the global population to 500 million, the most people on our planet that will die would be Chinese and Indian. And I've covered other things that have happened in India in my previous broadcast, so watch these broadcasts with important info. Other people are not reporting about what's important, and about survival is all what people can do. They're not trying to reach out to save lives and to create that perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. Many of them might not have faith in that.
As a result of the scathing accusations hurled at them by TerraSave, the company's stock fell sharply and its public relations degraded to the point it had protests outside its Harvardville facility. Ironically, TerraSave's aggressive campaigns against WilPharma ended up hindering the company's ability to distribute the T-virus vaccine, hurting their own cause. WilPharma's Harvardville facility. In truth, WilPharma itself had not been responsible for the T-virus outbreak in India. The true culprit was one WilPharma's employees, head researcher Frederick Downing, who had secretly unleashed the virus on different areas around the world as a twisted sales pitch to General Miguel Grande, the head of the Republic of Beja Arab and a sponsor of terrorism. One such incident, where Downing himself acted as the black market broker who supplied the virus, occurring in India, with the photos of WilPharma's human testing actually being of legitimate application of their newly developed T vaccine. As one last pitch to Grande, Downing also unleashed the T virus on the Harvardville airport. When the United States Marine Corps arrived and WilPharma shipped the T vaccine, Downing planted bombs in the trucks carrying the vaccine, destroying all of WilPharma's supply. Downing then returned to WilPharma's facility to collect his research and disappear, while under the pretense of overseeing the production of more of the antivirus. Downing also planted a bomb at WilPharma, knowing it would be blamed on Curtis Miller, in order to fake his death and make a clean escape. The plan ultimately came undone when the combined efforts of Leon Scott Kennedy, Claire Redfield, and Angela Miller exposed Downing's scheme, when Downing attempted to escape and sell different strains of the T and G viruses to Grande. Unfortunately, the final results of this ordeal destroyed WilPharma's entire supply of the T vaccine, leaving the world susceptible to the risk of a T virus infection once more. As a result, WilPharma went bankrupt, and Tricell, Incorporated offered to purchase its assets in a covert move to acquire more research. Tricell agents then went to the destroyed Harvardville facility and collected the remains of Curtis Miller in order to secure a sample of the G virus.
The G virus. The G of Freemasonry supposedly stands for Gnosis. I heard this in previous broadcasts already as well. Golgotha virus. A retrovirus in the progenitor family of viruses. Is this about the game Resident Evil Wiki? So I think that's more about the game than about the movies. Main content, franchise, lore, game content. So I'm wondering if this is just a parking lot or no, this is the Zhaofeng World Trade Center building. And it doesn't look the same as this. What was the other one? Oh yeah, that was on the Fandom website or whatever. Anyway, it's in the video, so people can rewind. That special building. So I don't recognize its shape on this one on the map. Bioengineering enterprise. Alright, that was the one I was looking for. Zhaofeng World Trade Building, Shanghai. So can that be this building? It's So I wonder what this could be. Well, it seems to be a special building with here a sort of wave. And it says here parking lot, so Yang's dumpling. Vegetarian dumplings, I hope. They almost look like moon structures, whatever. Space needle. Lanzhou noodles. I like noodles. So I'm not getting any further than this. Perhaps others can find more information. So I wonder if that building also has an underground thing, like we see in the movies. The Shanghai RUILAN Biotech Limited building. Resident Evil fans instantly recognize this Chinese company's logo. Well, also thought I could make a blue version of it. RGB, red, green, blue. So they might have a blue version somewhere as well. Resident Evil fans instantly recognize this Chinese company's logo on comicbook.com. That may be interesting to read.
Resident Evil fans instantly recognize this Chinese company's logo by Eric Garrett, June 18, 2019, 8:32 p.m. EDT. 0. Few things are as recognizable in gaming as the Umbrella Corporation logo. Fans of the long-running Resident Evil franchise know the classic red and white symbol all too well, because if it's around, chances are there is something bad happening nearby and it doesn't exactly bode well for people. The evil pharmaceutical conglomerate is at the heart of some rather shady business practices that results in, well, zombies. Needless to say, when a Chinese biotechnology company appears to have a similar logo to that of the umbrella corporations, fans begin to ponder. Shanghai RUILAN Biotech Limited is the name of a Chinese biotech company, and as pointed out by one Resident Evil fan, their logo is all too familiar. Instead of the red and white color scheme that fans of the horror series are used to, the company's logo goes with a turquoise and white palette, but the pattern is very much the same as that of the Umbrella Corporation's logo. Check it out.
I wonder if they also have a hallway that chops everybody up with a laser and stuff.
For yourself below. 3D7E81363276D0853D6637ECO85503DC64E. Photo, Srxabies. While one might think this could be a job done best in Photoshop, upon going to the company's website, the logo is indeed real. As was noted by Get News, fans were wondering if Shanghai is the real Raccoon City, or maybe that the company's president just happens to be a fan of the Resident Evil series. Either way, it's always fun when the logo appears in real life because you never know what may come of it. In other news, it was recently revealed that both Resident Evil 5 and 6 are making their way to the Nintendo Switch, which you can read all about right here. The Resident Evil 2 remake has been a hit since its release earlier this year on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. For more on the popular title, here is a snippet from our official review. Resident Evil 2 is a survival horror experience in its truest sense. From a constantly teased false sense of security, to horrifying instances that go far beyond a simple jump scare, this remake is one that every fan of the original needs to play. For those that aren't familiar with the Resident Evil franchise and its humble beginnings, it's still a treat, albeit imperfect, and one that requires no previous knowledge of the other games. From its challenging story from start to finish, to the incredible character development and increasing level of intrigue and desire to know more, Capcom mostly nailed bringing this beloved title into 2019, and it's an experience every horror fan needs to have for themselves. Zero comments. What do you think about all of this? Do you believe that companies intentionally use the Umbrella Corporation logo to get a rise out of people? Sound off in the comment section below, or feel free to hit me up over on Twitter at NRX7. Thanks, Kotaku.
So that was the whole article. For lease price upon request. I don't know if this is the correct building, but it was listed here as the address on madeinchina.com. So if anybody has more information about this building, the question is also, does it look like the building in the movie? So do they also develop designer viruses and stuff, or biotech? I doubt if it's on Wiki.
RUILAN Biotech Limited.
Is it just a coincidence that they picked that logo? Since when have they existed is also the question. Account registered in 2009 on Made in China by Miss Lucy. Well, I can play Lucy's Rap by Rick James. So they're in Shanghai, not in Wuhan. Great. But nice building, however, I think it's not the same one as we are seeing on the map. So of course, if this is part of some population reduction scenario, including Event 201, according to Dr. Cottrell, that video that I posted to the Discord, etc., that could mean the 1st of February, when the first case was in New York, according to him, or something like that. Perhaps we can watch that video. See if it's still there.
Hello, this is Dr. Paul.
So if it's part of a PSYOP, then it may all be to mislead the people. Peerbright Co. UK patented a coronavirus, though they claim it's a different coronavirus. I think people can test it, of course, check if it's if what they claim is true.
This is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and this is a very quick update. I just received an email from a subscriber to my channel that sent a message through my website, and because I was so upset from yesterday, I didn't even notice the connection, but it is clear as day now after sleeping a little bit and being a little bit calmer. We have been it's been triggered. The plan has been triggered, all right? And I want you to send this out to everybody. I'm not trying to be fear-mongering like some other assholes that are on YouTube, like AMTV, you know, but the point that I'm making is that we do know that there was something that was going on with Event 201, and 201 was February 1st, and the announcement in New York was February 1st. So the game is on. Whatever is happening that's globally orchestrated is moving in some direction. Please, if someone is watching this channel and they can get a hold of the guy that does the Gamatra stuff for sports, I think it's called the Gamatra Effect by Zach, I think his name is. If anyone can contact him, I need him to figure out that Event 201. And then come back to me, because I think my subscriber is completely right on this. And I mentioned this with a Leap project, that I think I did it offline though, but Event 201 seemed like there was a date to it. It was either Agenda 21, where you just dropped the zero, or that it was it was dealing with a month in a day, like either January 2nd. You know, maybe something happened in China in January 2nd that you know that was really important, or December 1st, or February 1st. But February 1st was the day that happened, that the actual case was being tested at Bellevue. And so there is like this kind of long timeline of milestones that are starting to be activated, all right? And I think we just had one that just took place. This Event 201 was the hint. Whoever does this stuff, they have to get it out into the public first, and then they, as like a signal in a strange way. I don't know if they're signaling their group, or if they have to tell the public in some strange symbolic way that's what they're going to do before they do it, to allow their karma to allow their source of energy to happen. I know this sounds kind of really strange and metaphysical, but I am absolute certain that Event 201 was a hint on the date of the infection that's supposed to take place in New York.
So what's this thing? Center for Health Security Coronavirus Pandemic Events. Age of Autism. Well, that takes a while. Forbidden picture, perhaps. 3.1 MB. Event 201 pandemic exercise short film. What? I didn't do that. jump to another picture. Johns Hopkins Event 201 Center for Health Security.org. So this looks like the coronavirus basically. A plush doll. I saw this in other picture somewhere, or in a video. It was a combination, I was looking for that. So that was a search on Event 201, and I add, of course, coronavirus. Coronavirus killed 65 million people. Futurism. .com. Here we see that picture. In a recent simulation, a coronavirus killed 65 million people. Major coincidence. But some people believe coincidences don't exist. But the meek shall inherit the earth might not be a correct translation from Hebrew. And what's this supposed to mean? This is it extra viral here in these white spots? And this? Ah, so perhaps it will infect the US as well. And everything that's red is alright. And everything that's green, except for these green spots. In Batman, the Joker also fell in a green vat of toxins or whatever, what do you call it? Never mind. Or perhaps this means it will affect the whole world. Except for France. Australia, China and the US. And all countries that are green. Well, we can take a look at the article. Simulated exact coronavirus outbreak. First I'll have to verify if these are alright for YouTube. Oh, one is a YouTube video. Oh yeah, the coronavirus event 201 pandemic exercise short film. That's because it now says coronavirus here underneath the video, so I thought it's the title. Anyway, and the other one, Gates Foundation simulated exact coronavirus outbreak scenario last November with quote event 201. Oh, that looks interesting. Short read. Okay, we can check this. This is fmshooter.com.
Gates Foundation simulated exact coronavirus outbreak scenario last November with Event 201 by John Hall, in Current Events on January 25, 2020, tagged with, Coronavirus, L, Wuhan. During the start of Lunar New Year celebrations, a mystery virus is spreading and infecting throughout China. As for official statistics, 54 people in the mainland have died and over 1,700 people, as of writing, have been sickened. Although unverified video claims up to 90,000 have already been infected by the coronavirus. A laboratory in Wuhan, China was cleared to work with the most dangerous pathogens in the world in 2017. Once the outbreak of the coronavirus went public, it was reported that the Huanan seafood wholesale market, just 8 miles from the lab, was the culprit of the virus, where wild, and often illegal, animals are sold. However, no link with the market and patient zero were found. The market likely had some hand in transmitting the virus, given its unsanitary conditions and high volume of human traffic, but the coincidence of the Wuhan lab's location becomes even more disconcerting when viewed in light of the currently unrelated events. In what has to be bizarre coincidence, in just November of last year, the Gates Foundation held a simulation called Event 201. Event 201 simulated an outbreak of a zoonotic coronavirus. Zoonotic would be the spread of disease through animals, vertebrates. Let's study how the scenario concluded. The scenario ends at the 18-month point, with 65 million deaths. The pandemic is beginning to slow due to the decreasing number of susceptible people. The pandemic will continue at some rate until there is an effective vaccine or until 80 to 90% of the global population has been exposed. From that point on, it is likely to be an endemic childhood disease. Other interesting tidbits from the simulation: although at first some countries are able to control it, it continues to spread and be reintroduced, and eventually no country can maintain control. There is no possibility of a vaccine being available in the first year. Since the whole human population is susceptible, during the initial months of the pandemic, the cumulative number of cases increases exponentially, doubling every week. 2 cases of the coronavirus have been confirmed in the US by the CDC. President Xi of China has warned that the outbreak is accelerating and says the country is facing a grave situation, with hospitals being stretched thin with overworked staff, medical supplies close to running out, and numerous patients seeking treatment. It's vital to keep pulse on the situation. Only time will be indicative if the situation abates in severity or worsens. February 6, 2020, Google News franchise third UK coronavirus case found in Brighton now quarantined. Coronavirus news: more Germans ill, first dead outside of China. February 4, 2020, Google first new case of coronavirus infection in Belgium. People's Daily. First confirmed case. January 30, 2020, Google News. WHO declares coronavirus outbreak a global health emergency. Stat. February 4, 2020, Google News. Kent residents on alert after fox tests positive for rabies. February 3, 2020, Google News. KZN man dies of rabies months after stray dog bite. Daily News. January 31, 2020, Google News. Rabid cat found on Baltimore National Pike in Ellicott City. WilTV. February 7, 2020, Google News. Rabid raccoon found in Newport News. 13newsno.com. Rec. You don't have permission to access http://www.13newsno.com/article/life/animals/rabid-raccoon. http://www.13Wayback Machine doesn't have that page archived. February 7, 2020, Google News. First rabies cases of 2020 confirmed. White County News. January 31, 2020, Google News. People, pets treated for rabies exposure after kitten, raccoons. Oklahoma, United States. January 31, 2020, Google News. Cat in Howard County tests positive for rabies. CBS. Baltimore. February 5, 2020, Google News. Texas rabies airdrop program tackles deadly disease. State of. Event 201. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security StadiaFreeform.com.
stateofreform.com.
Texas Rabies Airdrop Program Tackles Deadly Disease Monty Whaley, February 5, 2020. Share this, click to email this to a friend, opens a new window, click to share on Twitter, opens a new window, click to share on LinkedIn, opens a new window, click to share on Facebook, opens a new window. More. Texas health officials last month conducted its 26th annual rabies vaccine airdrops in rural areas along the Texas-Mexico border in an ongoing effort to prevent the deadly rabies strain from infecting people and animals. Started in 1995, the Texas oral rabies vaccination program eliminated the canine and fox strains of rabies from Texas. This year's airdrops, conducted over a 2-week period in January, was concentrated on a 25-mile swath along the border from the Rio Grande Valley to Big Bend and 19 counties on the border. About 1 million doses of vaccine were distributed. Laura Robinson, ORVP Director, said the program's goal is to vaccinate animals migrating into the state and keep rabies strains from being reintroduced. The vaccine is contained in small plastic packets covered in fish meal crumbles to make them more attractive for wildlife to eat. The vaccine has proved safe in more than 60 species of animals and is not a danger to humans. People should avoid handling the vaccine baits because human contact makes it less likely wild animals will eat them. Dogs, cats and livestock that eat the vaccine baits are not considered vaccinated against rabies, according to the Texas Department of State Health Services. Officials say rabies is spread through the saliva of infected animals, usually by a bite. Preventing rabies is critical because once a person or animal displays symptoms, the disease is almost always fatal. The program began as a response to major outbreaks of the canine strain of rabies in southern Texas and the gray fox type of rabies in western Texas. The outbreaks involved hundreds of animal cases, caused 2 human deaths and forced thousands of people to get expensive post-exposure treatments, say officials. The program costs $2 million, is partially funded by the Texas Department of State Health Services.
So coronavirus is not on the list of diseases, zoonotic diseases. Ebola virus disease, a hemorrhagic fever, Ebola virus SPP, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, fruit bats, monkeys, shrews, forest antelope, and porcupines are listed as animals involved. Through body fluids, organs, and ticks. Lassa fever via rodents. Rabies, commonly dogs, bats, monkeys, raccoons, foxes, skunks, cattle, goats, sheep, wolves, coyotes, groundhogs, horses, opossums, mongooses, and cats. Through saliva by biting or through scratches from an infected animal. Zika fever, Zika virus, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, monkeys, baboons. Mode of transmission, that's what I thought. Mosquito bite, sexual intercourse, blood transfusion, and sometimes bites of monkeys. But mosquito is not listed here with the animals involved. Whatever. Immune. Nice yourself. Event 201 Pandemic Exercise, short film, 19 minutes. How many people have seen this? 3,845 views. A tabletop exercise hosted by the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on October 18th, 2019 in New York. Oh yeah, that was the thing I wanted to read. Google News. New York Times, 1st of February 2020. Coronavirus officials eye first suspected case in New York. So what the doctor said was correct. Or what does I mean? Let's see that map again. Where did I have the map? Did I close that already? Right mouse clicked by accident. Coronavirus surveillance. Perhaps it's best if I try to check the New York Times article. A sample was being sent to the federal authorities for confirmation, the city health department said. The sight of people wearing masks had become more common in New York City as officials prepared for the arrival of the virus. New York City health officials announced on Saturday that a patient at Bellevue Hospital Center might have the new coronavirus and that samples were being sent to the federal authorities for laboratory testing. If confirmed, it would be the first known instance of the virus in New York City. I will link the New York Times article in the description. This is the article. Based on the patient's symptoms and travel history from China, city officials were taking the potential case seriously. This was the first time city officials had sent a sample to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for testing. Well, that's 5 days ago already, and now people have been diagnosed with this novel coronavirus in New York City. The up-to-date case count, the risk. Positive 0, negative 4, pending 1, total 5. This is as of February 7th, 2020. Today is the 8th in the Netherlands, so 6 to 8 hours or so earlier in the US. So there it's like 11:45 in Florida. So here people can see the status for New York on www.nyc.gov. And I think I'll call it a night now. I think that it can be time consuming, and I've already indicated other broadcasts are better. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Please hit that like button, especially on important videos, and I hope some people share it on their timeline, and also subscribe to my channel. I try to, when I do a broadcast, schedule that basically, but often I'm delayed, so that can happen that it shifts in half an hour every time. But I am getting the hang of that more already as well. So see you all next time. Do stuff for universal peace and healing things. So for example, tea tree oil. I bought a 20 milliliter tea tree for $13.95 in the Netherlands. The real thing. And that may be one of the best. Another one is eucalyptus for the airways, antiseptic properties, etc. So yeah, tune in next time on Perfect Society.